people of Israel are standing at the edge of a massive river. It is the Jordan. The water flows powerfully, at times turbulent, yet occasionally calming into a gentle shimmer as it reflects the silver rays of the sun. Look across the river. There, stretching toward the horizon, is a vast land they have yearned for throughout 40 years of wandering. You can see lush green hills rising in gentle curves and thick forests of ancient, majestic trees. It is a land of abundance, a land that promises peace and a home for a weary people. This is the land God promised to their forefathers centuries ago. To Abraham, the father of faith, God declared, "To your offspring, I will give this land." That promise was passed to Isaac, then to Jacob. Hundreds of years have rolled by, but the faithfulness of God's word has never dimmed for a single moment. Now, that promise is on the very brink of fulfillment. The Israelites stand by the riverbank, holding their breaths as they gaze at their inheritance. Their faces are a tapestry of emotions, overwhelming excitement for a new life, and a quiet, lingering tension, a question hidden in their hearts. Can we truly become the masters of that land? Is that truly the land flowing with milk and honey? Someone whispers, "Are we really going to cross this river and enter that place?" After 40 years in the wilderness, we are finally here. They speak in hushed tones, as if a loud voice might shatter this beautiful, long-awaited dream. A new history is about to be written. At that moment, an old man steps forward. It is Moses, the man who led them out of Egyptian slavery, through the divided Red Sea, and across the barren wilderness for 4 decades. Moses is now very old. The scriptures record his age as 120 years. He carries the weight of a century's wisdom and the solemnity of a lifetime spent in the presence of God. But the Bible tells us something extraordinary about him, even at 120. His eyes were not weak, and his vitality had not left him. His gaze remains sharp as he looks toward the horizon, and his steps are firm as he approaches his people. God has sustained him to the very end. However, Moses knows something no one else fully feels. He will not cross the Jordan. Because of the incident at Kadesh Barnea, he may see the promised land with his eyes, but he will never set foot upon its soil. Humanly speaking, he might have felt bitter or resentful. Yet, Moses does not complain. Instead, like a father gathering his children before a long journey, he turns to the people he has loved and guided to give them his final, most vital charge. Moses turns to the assembly. He speaks slowly, his voice saturated with urgency and love. "Israel, listen to my voice." Suddenly, the bustling camp falls silent. Hundreds of thousands of eyes fixate on the lips of their leader. Moses raises his hand, pointing toward the opposite bank. "Soon, you will cross this river. You will enter the new land the Lord has promised you. It will be entirely different from the dry, sun-scorched wilderness we have known. You will finally fold up your tents and build permanent houses of stone and timber. You will establish orderly towns and enjoy a peaceful, settled life. In the wilderness, you waited every morning for manna to fall from heaven. But in that land, you will sow seeds in your own fields. You will see the crops grow under the seasonal rains, and at harvest time, you will gather golden grain. Your flocks and herds will multiply in green pastures." The eyes of the people sparkle. They smile as they imagine the abundance awaiting them. Moses smiles back kindly, but then his expression turns grave. His voice drops an octave, carrying the weight of a life or death warning. "But hear me carefully. When you are full, when everything becomes comfortable and secure, there is one thing you must never, ever forget. Do not forget the Lord your God." Moses cries out, his voice echoing against the canyon walls. The land you are entering is a good land. It is a land with streams and pools of water, with springs flowing in the valleys. It is a land of wheat and barley, of vines and fig trees, pomegranates, olive oil, and honey. You will eat bread without scarcity and lack nothing. But listen to me, when you have eaten and are satisfied, when you build fine houses and settle down, and when your silver and gold increase, watch yourselves. Do not let your heart become proud. Do not say to yourself, my power and the strength of my hands have produced this wealth for me. It was not your strength. Remember the Lord your God, who fed you in the wilderness where there was no food, who kept your sandals from wearing out and your feet from swelling for 40 years. It is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth to confirm His covenant. Moses gazes across the Jordan once more. There are other nations already living in that land. They build tall walls and boast of their might, but they do not know the Lord. They bow before stones and call wooden idols their gods. Do not follow them. Do not walk in their ways. You are a holy people, a treasured possession chosen out of all the nations on earth. Did God choose you because you were more numerous than others? No. Did He choose you because you were more righteous or stronger? No, He chose you simply because He loves you, and because He is faithful to the oath He swore to your ancestors. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is your God today. It is His faithfulness that has brought you to these banks. Moses pauses, taking a deep breath. Then, he proclaims the heart of his entire message, the declaration that would become known to history as the Shema. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your strength. Keep these commandments that I give you today in your hearts. Do not keep them to yourself. Impress them on your children. Talk about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Make the love of God the very atmosphere of your lives. Parents instinctively reach out and grip the hands of their children. The children look up at Moses, seeing the fire in his eyes and the love in his smile. The Jordan continues to flow. Soon, the people of Israel will step into its waters and begin a new chapter. But as they stand on the threshold of the promise, this love letter from Moses, the Book of Deuteronomy, will be their guide. Will Israel remember the Lord when they are full and satisfied? What other stories will Moses share before he says his final goodbye? The epic of obedience and the journey into the heart of God's law begins now.
The story of Moses is deepening, reaching into the very soul of the people. The Israelites are still standing there at the edge of the Jordan River. If you close your eyes, you can almost imagine the breeze blowing from across the water, carrying the scent of fresh grass and hidden flowers from the land of Canaan, a scent they haven't smelled in a generation. But Moses isn't just talking about the scenery. He is sharing something vital, perhaps the most important lesson of their lives. Now, he brings up a memory that everyone knows, but no one wants to talk about, a ghost from their past that still haunts the older generation. It is a story of a missed opportunity, a story of what could have been done. Everyone, you must remember what happened. You must remember it clearly, and you must look at it coldly. Do not turn your eyes away from the mirror of history. Do you remember? There was a time when we were so close to the promise. It was at a place called Kadesh Barnea. Back then, Canaan was right there. It was so close we could have reached out and touched it. We were standing on the very doorstep of our future, just like we are standing here today. Back then, your parents came to me with a suggestion. They seemed so practical, so wise in their own eyes. They said, let's not just rush in. Let's send some men ahead to scout out the land. We want to know which road is safest, which cities are the strongest, and what kind of people we are going to face. They wanted a map. They wanted a guarantee. They wanted to see before they believed. At the time, it seemed like a reasonable request. Even I thought it was a smart move. I didn't see the seed of doubt hiding behind their logic. So we chose 12 men, 1 leader from each of your tribes. These were the best and the brightest, the heroes of the camp. We watched them march away with hearts full of excitement, heading into the unknown. We waited for 40 long days, staring at the horizon, wondering what they would find. They climbed into the rugged hill country and walked through the deep valley of Eshcol. For 40 days, they stepped on the soil, drank from the springs, and looked at every corner of that land. They saw the terraced hills, the flowing streams, and the magnificent forests. And finally, they came back to camp. The whole nation gathered to hear their report. Do you remember what they brought back? The fruit. They brought back a single cluster of grapes so massive that it took 2 grown men to carry it on a pole. They showed it to the people and shouted, "This land is amazing. It truly is a land flowing with milk and honey, just as the Lord promised. It is everything we dreamed of and more." But that joy didn't even last 5 minutes. The atmosphere shifted in a heartbeat. 10 of those spies changed their tone. Their eyes grew wide, their faces turned pale, and they began to whisper of nightmares. They said, "But listen, the people there are giants. They are much stronger than we are. Their cities are huge, with walls that reach up to the very heavens. Next to them, we felt like grasshoppers. We felt tiny and insignificant, and that's exactly how we looked to them." The moment you heard that negative report, your parents' hearts began to melt. The poison of fear spread through the camp like a wildfire. Suddenly, the giants in front of them looked much bigger than the God behind them. They forgot the Red Sea. They forgot the plagues of Egypt. They only saw the giants. You gathered in your tents and started whispering in the dark. Fear turned into grumbling, and grumbling turned into pure, blinding rage. All night long, the camp was filled with the sound of despair. People were screaming, "Why did we leave Egypt? Why did God bring us here? It would have been better to die as slaves than to die here." Then came the words that broke God's heart. You said, "God must hate us. He only brought us here to be slaughtered by the sword. He brought us here so our wives and children would be taken as plunder." You accused the Creator of being a murderer. You judged His love as if it were a trap. But listen to me, that was a lie. God never hated you. In fact, He loved you so much that He was willing to move heaven and earth to give you the very best. But you were wearing the wrong glasses, the glasses of fear, and they blinded you to the truth of His character. You looked at the giant, but you ignored the Almighty. In the end, your parents turned their backs on the promised land. The door was wide open, but they slammed it shut with their own fear. They chose the familiar desert over the terrifying promise. A cold wind blows across the river as we remember that day, the day a whole generation gave up. I told you then, with tears streaming down my face, do not be terrified. Do not be afraid of them. The Lord your God, who is going before you, will fight for you. I tried to remind you of your own history. Didn't you see what He did in Egypt? The Lord your God carried you, as a father carries his son, all the way until you reach this place. Think about that image, a father holding his child, shielding him from the heat, carrying him when his legs are too tired to move. That was God for you. He went ahead of you in a pillar of fire by night and a cloud by day, not just to show the way, but to find the best places for you to rest. He was your scout, your protector, and your father, but despite everything, you did not trust the Lord your God. You treated the stones of a city wall as more real than the promise of the living God. You trusted your own terror more than His word. You believed the 10 spies more than the one who created the stars. And so the Lord heard your grumbling. He heard the bitter words you whispered in your tents, and He handed down a heartbreaking judgment. He said, "Not one of this evil generation shall see the good land I swore to give your ancestors." Not one. Can you imagine the silence that fell over the camp? The realization that they would never see the hills they just glimpsed, except for Caleb and Joshua, because they followed the Lord wholeheartedly. They saw the same giants, but they saw a bigger God. And as for your children, the ones you said would be taken as plunder, He said, they are the ones who will enter. I will protect what you could not trust me with. You are those children. You are the survivors. Your parents had to walk back into the barren wilderness. They wandered for 38 more years, walking in circles, watching their friends pass away one by one until that entire generation was gone. But listen closely. Those 38 years weren't just a punishment. God was using that time to reteach you. He was cleaning the poison of Egypt out of your souls. He wanted you to realize that humans do not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of the Lord. Your life depends on His breath, not your own strength. You learned so much in that wilderness school. You met the God who cracked open a rock to give you water when your throats were burning. You experienced the God who rained down bread from heaven every morning. You lived in a place where nothing grows, yet you never went hungry. Your clothes didn't wear out, and your feet didn't swell. But remember, all that pain, all those funerals in the sand, started with one thing: fear. You saw the problem as bigger than God. Why am I bringing up this painful past today? It's because I love you. I don't want you to repeat the same fatal mistake. I don't want you to waste another 40 years. Today, the opportunity has returned. The clock has reset. Do you see that land? The sun is hitting those hills just like it did 40 years ago. You are standing exactly where your parents stood. Nothing has changed in Canaan, but everything must change in you. You must not be the generation that kneels to fear. Believe in God's promise 1,000 times more than you believe in the threats you see with your eyes. When your heart starts to tremble, remember the Father carrying His Son. When you see the high walls, remember the pillar of fire. You are a new generation. You have been tempered in the fires of the wilderness. You are stronger because He is with you. You are wiser because you have seen the cost of doubt. Now, are you ready? Are you ready to steady your hearts, to look the giants in the eye, and take that first step of faith? As Moses speaks, the eyes of the people begin to glow with a strength they've never felt before. The fear of their parents is being replaced by a fierce, quiet resolve. They are no longer grasshoppers. They are the children of the great king. But Moses is not done yet. Having looked at the mistakes of the past, he now has to teach them how to live in the future. Deuteronomy Part 3, the path of obedience and the choice of life. The great journey toward the promise continues.
Friends, imagine you are standing before two massive doors today. Which one would you open? Behind one door, endless life and overflowing blessings are waiting for you. But behind the other, cold darkness and destruction are lurking in the shadows. Where are your footsteps leading you at this very moment? Today, here by the banks of the Jordan, you must make a single choice that will change your destiny forever. Will it be life or death? Blessing or curse? This is the final survival strategy from Moses, a leader risking his last breath to deliver this message. And the conclusion begins right now. The scene at the edge of the Jordan River is one of profound weight. The people of Israel stand in a heavy, breathless silence, their eyes fixed on the lips of Moses. A gentle breeze from across the water brushes against their clothes, carrying the scent of the promised land. The river flows steadily, sparkling like a sea of jewels under the afternoon sun. Moses, now a venerable man of 120 years, grips his staff with firm, weathered hands. He looks out at the vast crowd, taking them in one by one. In his eyes, burning love and deep concern for this young generation born in the wilderness are woven together. He draws a deep breath and continues in a voice that is deep, resonant, and full of soul. My people, listen closely. I'm about to tell you the most important thing of my entire life. Perhaps this will be the most precious legacy I can ever leave behind, more valuable than gold or silver. At the sound of that solemn voice, every eye snaps back to him. The focus is absolute. As he speaks, and as the wind grows stronger, his voice becomes even more unshakable. Two paths are laid out before you. No one can avoid them. It is a journey of destiny where you must choose one way to walk. One path is to follow the Lord your God with all your heart. It may look narrow, but its end is filled with eternal light. The other path is to leave God and wander according to your own desires and your own stubbornness. A heavy silence settles over the plains. Moses speaks slowly now, putting his soul into every word. Following God leads, ultimately, to life and peace. But doing what is right in your own eyes, leaving the Lord behind. That path leads to great hardship, deep sorrow, and eventually to the loss of everything you hold dear. The people's faces grow serious. They realize now why their parents fell in the wilderness and why they wandered for 40 long years. The reason for everything was found in this one simple choice. Moses leans in, continuing his plea. The land you are about to enter is a land of grace, but also a land of testing. Every moment, the path you choose will decide your destiny, the destiny of your children after you. He places his hand over his heart, appealing to them with raw sincerity. Please, do not forget, the Lord truly loves you. The reason he gave us his laws is not to trap us or limit us. No, it is an act of love of fatherly provision to show us the safest way so that we do not get hurt in a dangerous world. Everyone, from the children to the young men, listens intently. Moses now speaks with a firm tone, explaining the essence of the law. Loving God is not just a confession from your lips. It doesn't end with the words, "I love you." Real love means making His word the standard for your life and actually living it out. From the moment you wake until you sleep, ask yourself, what would please the heart of God? And move your feet in that direction. That is real love. Moses raises his hand, pointing across the river to the lush horizon of Canaan. In that land, you'll face a crossroads every day. What you harvest, how you treat your neighbor, who you call upon when trouble strikes you will decide these things with your own will. In those moments, you must stop. Think about God. He emphasizes this with even more power in his voice. Ask yourselves, does God delight in what I am doing? Is this truly the path of life he promised us? A cool breeze flutters Moses' long white beard. He looks like a true messenger of heaven. He speaks again with warmth and hope. If you cherish God's word, amazing things will happen. Blessings you haven't dared to imagine will pour down upon your homes. The heavens will open and rain will fall in its perfect season. Your fields will ripple with golden harvests. Your trees will be heavy with fruit, and your livestock will multiply. You will live in safety and sleep in perfect peace under the protection of the Almighty. The children's eyes sparkle at the thought, but then Moses' voice turns grave. The warmth fades into a solemn warning. But if you become drunk on that prosperity and forget the Lord, everything changes. The moment you think you earned this by your own strength, the crisis begins. Do not look at the flashy gods of the people before you. Do not bow to hollow idols. To leave God is to cut yourself off from the fountain of life. If you do that, the heavens will close and the fertile earth will turn to stone. The faces of the people harden with fear. Moses immediately comforts them with a softer, more intimate voice. God is not saying this to scare you. He is like a parent screaming to stop a child running toward a cliff. He wants you to be happy. That is his heart toward you. The people are starting to feel the love hidden within the warning. Moses raises his voice for one final call. So right now, your choice matters most. You cannot change the past, but the future depends on the choice you make today. Moses spreads his hands wide. Life and blessing, or death and disaster. Where will you stand today? A profound silence follows, broken only by the sound of the Jordan. Then, in his warmest voice, Moses makes his final plea. I want you and your children to choose the path of life. It is the path of true happiness. Love the Lord with all your heart. Listen to his gentle whisper and treasure every word like a jewel. Hold fast to him as your closest friend and your strongest father. His sincere cry echoes across the riverbank. That is the only safe way for you to be eternally peaceful and happy in Canaan. The eyes of the people grow resolute. Moses offers one last word of courage. You are never alone. Just as he was in the wilderness, God is always there. If you choose him, he will gladly take your hand and walk with you through Canaan. The wind blows again over the Jordan, and the water continues to sparkle. The promised land glows brilliantly in the light. Moses whispers, "Soon you will enter that land with confidence. Do not be afraid." God has prepared the way. The people look toward the land with excitement and holy determination. Moses' story is reaching its end. But he still has one final blessing to give and a new leader to appoint. That moving final story is coming up. Next, Deuteronomy Part 4. The final blessing and a new beginning. The great history God has prepared starts now. The 40-year march has finally come to a halt. The question lingers in the air. Why? Why did he stop? Why did he let go of the very promise he spent his life chasing? Today, we stand on the plains of Moab, by the banks of the Jordan River, the final stop of a journey that defined human history. It began in the heart of Egypt, by the waters of the Nile. It moved through the parted depths of the Red Sea, stood trembling before the roaring fires of Mount Sinai, and tasted the bitter tears of Kadesh Barnea. 40 years of wandering, 40 years of miracles and mistakes have led us to this very spot. An era is ending. Do you remember how it started 40 years ago? Can you still feel the terror that shook the heart of the Egyptian Empire during those 10 plagues? In the tragic silence of the death of the firstborn, Israel took its first steps not in fear, but in the shout of liberation, their doorposts marked with the blood of the Lamb. Do you remember the man who stood between Pharaoh's thundering chariots and the deep blue waters of the sea, shouting, "Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord"? That same staff, once so firm, is trembling now. The man who was called from a burning bush at 80 is now a venerable 120 years old. This is Moses the giant who carried the weight of a nation's pain, their praise, their betrayals, and their restoration. Before him lies the land he dreamed of every single night, Canaan. It's so close he can almost touch it, shimmering with the promise of milk and honey. But behind him, the desert wind still carries the dust of the graves of an entire generation, 600,000 people who didn't make it. So why does he stop? Why is he forbidden from crossing this river? This isn't just the retirement of an old leader. This is a profound intersection of God's justice and His grace. Today, through the final afternoon of Moses, we learn what it means to leave a legacy and what it means to let go so that something new can begin. The Jordan River flows more fiercely than usual today, its roar breaking the heavy silence. Every eye is fixed on one man, Moses. Just across the water, the promised land glows under the sun. One step, just one more step, and 40 years of longing would be fulfilled. But Moses does not move. He cannot move. His stopping is not a failure. It is a holy act of obedience toward completion. Moses leans his weary body on his staff and gazes at the crowd. These people are the generation of promise. They don't remember the crack of the Egyptian whip. They only know the taste of manna and quail in the wilderness. To Moses, they weren't just a nation, they were his children. He was the spiritual father who suffered with them under the cloud by day and the fire by night. He stayed with them when they were thirsty, when they were lost, and even when they picked up stones to kill him. He loved them through it all. Moses takes a deep breath and begins to speak. His voice is surprisingly strong, filled with the wisdom of a century. Hear me, O Israel. Today, I set before you life and prosperity, death and destruction. My time with you in the flesh has reached its limit. I am now 120 years old, and I am no longer able to lead you. The Lord has said to me, you shall not cross this Jordan. A low sob ripples through the crowd. It feels like they are losing their father, their anchor. But Moses continues, his voice firm yet tender. Do not weep. Do not think for a moment that you are alone because I am gone. It was never I who led you. The Lord your God, the Master of the universe, will personally cross over ahead of you. He has never left you, Achaia, and he will not leave you now, not even before the towering walls of the Canaanite cities. Moses raises a trembling hand, Achaia, pointing toward the horizon. Look at that land. The soil you are about to tread upon is not a trophy of your own strength or military might. It is the faithful gift of God, promised to your ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So, I charge you, when you enter that land, when you eat and are full, when you live in beautiful houses and your gold and silver increase, that is when you must be most careful. I fear your hearts will grow proud and you will forget the Lord. The moment you say, my power and the strength of my hands produce this wealth, you will find yourselves back in the misery of the wilderness. This is the greatest truth. Moses learned in his 120 years. The greatest tragedy of man is forgetting the source at the height of success. He carves this warning into their hearts. Remember God's words like your daily bread. Tie them as symbols on your hands, bind them on your foreheads, and write them on your doorposts. Teach them diligently to your children. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. This is the only path to life. Cling to him, for he is your life. A heavy silence follows. Moses then calls for the young, loyal leader standing nearby. Joshua, come here. Under the gaze of thousands, Joshua steps forward, his legs shaking. Moses places his hands on Joshua's shoulders. This wasn't just a transfer of power. It was the passing of a holy mission. Joshua, be strong and courageous. Do not let a single seed of fear remain in your heart. You will lead this people into the land. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged. Tears stream down Joshua's face. Moses smiles kindly and turns back to the people one last time. My task ends here. But do not be sad. My story stops, but God's great story is just truly beginning through you. You are a blessed people. You are a happy people, saved by a God like no other. The sun begins to set over the Jordan. The horizon of Moab burns red. Across the river, Canaan is bathed in a brilliant golden light. Moses gazes at that land for a long time, as if trying to etch the image into his soul forever. The land he dreamed of for 40 years. Though he cannot step foot on it, he whispers to himself, "It is a beautiful land." In those words, there might be a tiny hint of human regret, but it is swallowed up by a much deeper sense of peace. He was happy enough just to see God's promise being fulfilled through the people he loved. His death was not a defeat. It was a beautiful act of stepping aside for the next generation. Moses raises his hands high and gives his final blessing. His prayer carries on the wind, through every tent and every heart in the plains. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his face toward you and give you peace. And with that, the sermon of Moses ends. His earthly story closes quietly atop Mount Nebo, the scripture says. His eyes were not weak, nor his strength gone. He did not die of sickness. He died because his mission was complete. No one knows where he was buried, for he was laid to rest by the very hand of God. Now, look at your own life. Are you troubled by the complex thoughts of today? Are you anxious about the uncertainty of tomorrow? Or bitter about the dreams you haven't reached yet? Look at the final footsteps of Moses and lay down your burdens. One chapter of a giant closed, but the history of God didn't stop, flowed right into Joshua. It is the same for you. You don't have to solve everything yourself. Don't try to cross the river with your own strength alone. Entrust your night to the God who parts the Jordan and goes before you. The faithful God who was with Moses is with you right now, guarding you. Close your eyes in peace. Feel the breeze of the promised land covering your weary soul. God knows your name. He remembers your 40 years of wandering in a single day. Feel his hand wiping away your tears and let go of all your tension. God has already prepared your tomorrow. You are not alone.